not to search Grid 17. No explanation. Just, don't go in. A team ignored that once. They were inside for 6 hours. They came out before dark, all 3 of them. But one of them wouldn't speak. One of them was missing 4 hours, and one of them said there were 4 people on the team. There weren't. We got a call about a missing day hiker in a section of forest near the current river. Standard overdue report. His wife called it in around 7 p.m. We found his trail, then we lost it. In a way that doesn't happen. Name's Darren, I'm 44. SAR volunteer for 8 years, March 2024. The hiker was a 47-year-old man. Experienced, day hike on a maintained trail, should have taken 4 hours. We launched at first light. Dogs picked up his scent fast, followed his boot prints down the trail for about 3 miles. Normal pace, steady stride. At mile 3, the trail crosses a creek bed. Dry in March, gravel and limestone. His prints crossed the creek, continued on the far side for about 50 yards. Normal, then they stopped. Not faded, not washed away. The last print was clear, full impression. Left foot. The right foot should have been about 2 feet ahead. Nothing. The ground beyond the last print was undisturbed. Leaves, pine needles, no scuff marks, no disturbance. Like he'd taken 1 step and never landed. The dogs went to the last print. Circled, whined, lost the scent. Not, couldn't pick it up. Lost it. The handler said it was like the scent stopped in midair. We searched a 1/4-mile radius from that point. Grid pattern, 6 hours, nothing, no trail, no sign. No clothing caught on branches, no broken vegetation, nothing. Then one of my team noticed something. About 20 feet from the last boot print, there was a sinkhole. Small, maybe 3 feet wide, old, partially filled with debris. He shined a light down. The sinkhole went deeper than the light could reach. We called for a cave rescue team. They went down the next day, dropped about 60 feet into a limestone passage. They found his water bottle. Sitting on a ledge about 40 feet down, upright, cap on, half full, no other gear, no boot prints in the mud below, no sign he'd fallen in, no scuff marks on the rim, no disturbed debris at the opening. His water bottle was 40 feet underground. The rest of him wasn't. We searched for 4 more days. Never found him. The sinkhole was mapped. The passage goes about 200 feet and dead ends. He wasn't in it, but his water bottle was. I don't know how it got there without him. We got a report from a group of backpackers about a fire they'd seen in the forest, burning in an area with no trails, no campsites, and no access. When we checked, the fire was real, but it shouldn't have been possible. Name's Sandra. I'm 39. SAR coordinator for the Southeast District. 6 years, October 2024. The backpackers were on a maintained trail about 4 miles in. They reported seeing a fire through the trees, maybe a 1/4 mile off trail, flickering, active, someone tending it. We hiked out the next morning to check. Fire danger was moderate. An uncontrolled fire in that area would be a problem. Found the spot, a clearing about 30 feet across. In the center, a fire ring, stones arranged in a neat circle, ash inside. The ash was warm. The fire had been recent, but the clearing was wrong. The vegetation around it was undisturbed. No branches broken to reach it. No boot prints. No trail through the brush. The clearing was surrounded by dense cedar so tight you'd need to push through it. We pushed through. Left marks, broken branches, scuffed ground. It was obvious where we'd entered, but there were no other entry marks. Nobody had pushed through the brush before us. Someone had built a fire in a clearing with no way in and no way out. The fire ring was neat, organized. The stones were local limestone, but they were clean, scrubbed. No ash residue on the outside, like someone had cleaned each stone before placing it. In the center of the ash we found something, a small figure, carved from wood, maybe 4 inches tall, rough, shaped like a person, arms at sides, no face. It hadn't burned. It was sitting in the ash like someone had placed it there after the fire went out. We photographed it, logged it, left it. I went back a week later. The clearing was still there. The fire ring was still there. The figure was gone. The ash was fresh again, warm. Someone had come back, built another fire, taken the figure, in a clearing with no trail to it and no entry marks. I stopped checking that spot, but I drive past the trailhead sometimes, and on certain nights, if I look through the trees in the right direction, I can see the glow. Someone still using that clearing. The Current River runs through some of the most remote forest in Missouri. Spring-fed, clear, cold even in summer. Kayakers and canoeists use it year-round. In August 2023, the river gave back a man who'd been missing for 3 weeks. In a way that didn't make sense. Name's Darren, same volunteer. The man had gone missing on a solo kayak trip. Mid-50s, experienced paddler. His kayak was found on the bank about 15 miles downstream from his put-in. Capsized, gear scattered, standard river accident profile. We searched for a week, dragged pools, checked log jams, nothing. After 10 days the search was called off. Listed as probable drowning. 3 weeks after he went missing, a fisherman found him, sitting on the bank, about 2 miles upstream from where his kayak was found. Alive, conscious, dry. 3 weeks in the Missouri summer. No food, no water, no shelter. But he was hydrated, not sunburned, not insect-bitten. His clothes were clean, dry, like he'd changed that morning. He said he'd been on the river the whole time. He said, "I've been right here." 3 weeks, same spot. Nobody found him during a week-long search that covered that exact section of bank. I was on the search team. I walked that bank, I checked that spot. He wasn't there, but he said he'd been there the whole time. Medical check showed no dehydration, no malnutrition, no exposure. 3 weeks in the wilderness, and his body showed no sign of being outdoors for more than a few hours. I asked my supervisor what to file. She said, "Found alive, good condition, location, riverbank." I said, "He wasn't there when we searched." She said, "I know, file it anyway." He went home, recovered, never kayaked again. He called me once about a month later. He said, "I wasn't on the bank the whole time. I was somewhere else. But I can't remember where." He said, "I think the river took me somewhere. And then it brought me back." I didn't know what to say. I still don't. Southern Missouri is limestone country, bluffs, caves, passages that go for miles underground. You can stand on solid ground and there's a cavern 50 feet below you. In November 2024, something in the bluffs made a sound I can't explain. And it responded to us. Name's Sandra. Same coordinator. We were on a routine patrol, checking trail conditions after a storm. 3 of us. Standard. Around noon, we stopped at a bluff overlook. Eating lunch, clear day, no wind, quiet. Then a sound from below the bluff. A vibration, low, deep, like a machine running somewhere underground. Not unusual by itself. Caves amplify water sounds. Underground streams can create hum. But this wasn't water. The sound pulsed, on and off. About 5 seconds on, 5 seconds off. Regular, mechanical. I stood up, walked to the edge of the bluff, looked down, dense timber below, a cave entrance, visible about 100 feet down the slope. The sound was coming from the cave. I called out, just instinct. "Hello?" The sound stopped. Silence, maybe 10 seconds. Then the sound again, but different. The rhythm had changed. Faster. 3 seconds on, 3 seconds off. My team member said, "It changed when you yelled." I yelled again. "Hello." The sound stopped. 10 seconds. Then it came back, even faster. 2 seconds on, 2 seconds off. Every time I called out, the rhythm changed, like it was responding, not echoing, responding. I stopped calling. The sound went back to its original rhythm. 5 on, 5 off. Slow, steady. We ate lunch, packed up, left. I reported the sound as possible underground water disturbance. But water doesn't change rhythm when you yell at it. I've been past that bluff 4 times since. Twice the sound was there, same rhythm. I didn't call out. I don't want to know if it still responds. There's a section of the Mark Twain National Forest that we were told to skip during searches. No memo, no email, just a verbal instruction from the district supervisor. If the search extends into Grid 17, redirect. Don't enter. Let county handle it. Names, Sandra, Year 6. I followed that instruction for 3 years before I asked why. My supervisor had been with the department for 22 years. She'd coordinated hundreds of searches. Not someone who made decisions based on superstition. I asked her about Grid 17, why we redirect, why we don't search it ourselves. She looked at me for a while. Then she told me. In 2016, she'd sent a team of 3 into Grid 17 to search for a missing hunter. Standard call, standard terrain. The team was in for about 6 hours, radio checks every hour. Normal. They came out at dusk. All 3. But they were different. One of them wouldn't speak. Not couldn't. Wouldn't. He sat in his truck for an hour after they got back, staring straight ahead. Then he drove home. He quit the team the next day. No explanation. The second one filed a report. Normal language, normal format. But the report described a search that lasted 2 hours, not 6. 4 hours of his day were missing from the report. When my supervisor asked about the missing hours, he said, "We were searching." She said, "For 4 hours you didn't report." He said, "I don't remember 4 hours." The third team member filed a separate report. His report described the same search, but in his version, there were 4 people on the team, not 3. He named someone who wasn't on the roster. When my supervisor checked, the name he'd written didn't match any volunteer. Past or present, nobody by that name had ever been on the team. But the third member insisted. He said the 4th person had been with them the whole time, walked with them, talked with them, helped search. He described them clearly: height, build, clothing, voice. A person who didn't exist had walked with the team for 6 hours, and one member remembered them. The other 2 didn't. My supervisor sent a solo ranger into Grid 17 the next week. Experienced, 15 years in the field. He came out after 2 hours, wouldn't say what he saw. Put in for a transfer the next month. That's when Grid 17 got redirected, verbally. No paper trail. The missing hunter from the original call was found a week later. 2 miles outside Grid 17, walking on a county road. Confused. Couldn't account for the missing days. Grid 17 is still on the map. Nobody searched it in 8 years. When I asked my supervisor what she thinks is in there, she said one thing: "I don't think it matters what's in there. What matters is that everybody who goes in comes out wrong."